All right, another one where we talk about things in the space of real estate. All right, today we're talking about risk. Um, Sorry, it's early, so if I look rough, that's why. It's 7:11 though. I've been up for a while, since about 5. Got the bloom going and ready to go. So, yeah, we're talking about risk in real estate today. So different ways that risk shows up, what's risky and what's not, um, and different things like that. So we got a couple questions lined up that we're just going to kind of run through, and then hopefully most of these are useful and valuable to you guys. So here we go. Okay, question one. Your oh, hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, question one is what did I say? Oh, is it still a good time to buy right now, or are we past the window? Got it. Okay. So, um, I think you might have heard me say this previously, but there's never a bad time to buy. It's only bad times to sell. Okay, like you don't like there's a lot of different speculation that goes on online about like when do you actually make your money. I think the money, I mean, you get the better deal when you buy for sure, but like you don't get to actually cash out or do things like that and see the full return of your investment until it's time to sell. And so like if you were to buy, I mean, just using the 2008 crash as an example, if you were to buy a house in 2007 and then you needed to sell it in 2008, like that would have been a quote unquote bad time to buy. But at the same time, using that same logic, the people that bought in 2007 and still own the house now are rich. So um, it's only bad if you have to sell in the bad times, which is where it comes into like making sure you can afford it and stuff like that, to be able to hold out for the long run, as opposed to um, just just getting in just to get in, and then you over leverage yourself, and then you end up having to sell in those bad times. Um, so to answer the question, it's always a good time to buy. So you're never past the window. The question is, can you afford to buy, and can you hold out long enough through a bad time? That's it. Kind of along the same. Next question is along the same lines. Should investors be worried about the 2008 style crash happening again? So yeah, this is a really good question. I think this is something that not a lot of people know what actually happened. So I'll just kind of give you a brief summary. So in 2009, when the real estate market crashed, like that was because here's the simplest way I can explain it. The mortgage people that were giving out loans were packaging bad loans as good ones. So today we would, in the mortgage industry, they classify quote unquote risky loans as low credit, low income, things like that. Those are the people that wouldn't get approved, yada, yada. In 2008, they were taking those people and then presenting them and packaging the loans together to make them look like they were good credit, good scores, good income, all of that good stuff, to make it seem like they were not risky. Okay. Now, and then when the market crash happened, it was because all of those people that they packaged in the good loans could not pay back they couldn't pay they couldn't pay the banks back, and so there was a lot of foreclosures and all of that kind of stuff. So it tanked the market completely because people needed to get rid of the homes. The banks specifically needed to get rid of the homes. And so that's where you saw the declines in prices and people losing like hundreds of thousands of dollars in value and equity, like because they needed to get rid of it because they couldn't afford it, if that makes sense. So all of that started in the beginning when they were just packaging these terrible loans together for people that should not have qualified for homes, if that makes sense. Okay. So Now, to wrap it back into the question, should investors be worried about the 2008 style crash happening again? As long as the banks don't start just lending money to anybody, then we should be good. Now, I will say the only reason people are saying that the time is getting close to that again, or it's starting to look like it again, is because affordability is so bad. So it seems like the people cannot get in. So first time home buyer age right now is 38 years old. And that seems, I mean, it's very high. It's high. Thinking back to single income households in the 1960s, the average age was 22. So like we're up for sure. So they're worried about the government getting a little too ambitious to get people into homes, and dropping the requirements to get into homes so low that it ends up putting us back into that style. Now, do I think they'll go back? Hopefully, the government learned their lesson, and paying attention to a lot of different loan regulations and stuff like that. And there are a lot more rules now than there were then. But at the end of the day, do I see it happening that bad again? Absolutely not. It's just one of those things you learn, you live and you learn, and hopefully everybody's learned from it, and it shouldn't happen again. So that's why you're seeing the correlation. But should you be worried about it? I wouldn't worry about it. Um, okay, how do rising insurance costs change the risk math on a rental property? Um, it's an interesting question. I mean, they affect it exactly how you would think. It makes, I don't know if it makes it less risky. I mean, more risky. It just increases the costs. So the actual question is like from a financial risk perspective, like can you afford it? So if you buy an investment property or you buy your first home and the insurance costs go up, can you manage that with your monthly budget? That's the main thing. But I don't think that's any different than, property taxes go up every year, insurance costs go up and down. Um, so like I don't think it's any different than any other math on a rental, on a primary or any other property. So just kind of play out the math and make sure you can afford a couple hundred above and a couple hundred below your current mortgage payment, to make sure that you don't get put in that blind, and then you will be the one that causes the 2008 crash. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, just make sure you give yourself some breathing room for the budget, which also goes back to like, please stop just buying the maximum amount of home that you qualify for just because. Play out the numbers into your budget as well. I will say that. Cool. What's the difference between a market correction and a market crash? How do you tell which one is happening? Um, Okay, I'll give you an analogy. Market correction is like a boomerang. If I throw a boomerang and it comes back, like that is the boomerang correcting its direction. Okay, so like if the market, right, like right now we're a little bit down in prices across DFW, or even let's take a better example. Look at COVID. So back in 2021, like low interest rates caused housing prices to go crazy, and we were in a heavy sellers market. Right now, we are seeing a market correction from that crazy sellers market. So that's where you see the interest rates, the government's raised the interest rates, or like economic factors have raised the interest rates, and so they're just trying to offset it to make it more normal again, if you will. Like we just hit an official balanced market here in Dallas, and and it's completely normal, but it feels like the market's crashing just because we were so heavy into a seller's market. But a market crash would be, I guess, technically when it absolutely tanks, like you start seeing crazy 20%, 30% value drops, or a drastic switch in supply and demand. And so, like in real estate, we track everything by month supply of inventory, which all that means is in months, if no new homes were to come to market, how long would it take for all the existing homes on the market to sell? And so we track that number by months, and we go from 0 to 8 and higher. But anything from 4 to 6 months is a balanced, and then anything below that is the sellers. Anything above that is buyers. So if we were to see like 1 month of inventory and then it switches and goes to 9 like in a month, that would probably be a heavy indicator of a crash. Um, but if it's slowly ticking like it has been over the last 5 years, it's just been slowly increasing. It's just simply put, it's a correction. That's all. So just pay attention to the, um, like if you had a stock window, if it was to fall off, if it was going up like this and then it just fell straight down, that would be a crash. If it's going up like this and then it starts trending back down, that would be more of a correction. That's the easiest way I can describe it. Let's see. What's a red flag in a deal that looks good on paper but isn't? A red flag in a deal that looks good on paper but isn't. Huh. I'm assuming this is from an investment angle. Red flag in a deal that looks good on paper but isn't. See, it's hard for me to say because like everything's so subjective depending on what it is. I'd say, I mean, I'll say one for me. Um, uh, like if I see, okay, let's do this. So I have a client and he hates Section 8 rentals. Not that he hates the program, but he's saying like he wouldn't put a Section 8 tenant in his home. It's just a different kind of thing. If you don't know what a Section 8 tenant is, Section 8 is a housing program that the government does to get lower income families into rentals for low amounts, and so that they can. It's like a government assistance program. Um, Now that obviously lower income usually brings a little bit more riffraff, if you will, and a lot of times like destroy the property. But I have a client, Ronald. He loves Section 8 tenants, and he's been doing it for 30 years, and like he does it for older people, and so like it helps out the community. But some people don't like it. So anyway, so this client specifically, he doesn't want Section 8 tenants. Um, so when I'm looking at rental prices, like you can see, like if I pull an area um, where Section 8 tenants are prominent, you will see a spike in the rental amount. So you'll see like a $300,000 house for sale, but it's renting out for $2,500. And it's like, whoa, like that's a lot of money for a rental. How are they getting that much? And then you look at the other numbers and it's like the average is like 18, 19. And so you see that spike and then you're like, oh snap, like that's a really good rental price. Like I should go get that one. The only thing that you didn't pay attention to was that it's a registered housing voucher from Section 8. And it's government guaranteed, so it's good money, and it's higher, but it comes with a different type of tenant. So like if you saw that deal on paper and it's renting out for 2,500 and it's only 300,000, like it might be attractive, but you got to look deeper into it to see what kind of tenant it is and make sure that it's that's something you want to deal with. So I hope that helps. But that would be, I guess, a red flag. Well, it's tough to say because like my red flags might not be everyone else's red flags. Um. Oh, you know what? Okay, let's talk from a consumer side. So from a consumer aspect, a red flag. If you're going to purchase your own home and you see a property that's for sale for, let's say average in the neighborhood is 300K, and you see it for sale for 200, it might not be everything that you're thinking. um, it could be a short. Nah, actually, I'm not gonna say that one because again, that's so subjective. So yeah, just stick with the first one. It's fine. What's another one? Is an arm ever worth the risk in this rate environment, or should investors always go fixed? It depends on your risk tolerance. So you got to figure out like what kind of person you are. So if you're a person that is inherently risky and they're okay with like taking the oh well, let me just start by defining my terms. So ARM, adjustable rate mortgage. So typically what they could do is they'll give you a portion of a fixed rate that is typically lower than what the market value is right then. So if rates right now are 6.5, they'll give you a rate of 4 for the first 5 years, and then after that, it's adjusted over maybe every month or every couple of months or so. So most people don't like that because they get scared of what happens after the 5 years. Like, do we, I don't want my rate just going up. Now, here's obviously another misconception is when you do that, you have to you have to understand that there's also caps that come with the rates, so that your rate can't just go from 4 at fixed to just insta jump to 8. So I would pay attention to what the caps are, and make sure that you're comfortable with that. But to go back to the question, so is an adjustable rate mortgage ever worth the risk in this rate environment, or should investors always go fixed? Um, Hold on, because hold on, I might have to end this early. I shall return with this maybe later today. I gotta go finish something.